You are invited to this here moment with a master, with Sensei Kwabin. Moment with master number what? 27? Chisa! Pow! Sensei Kwabin here. Moment with the master number 27. Getting into the vortex of our movement and our alignment and our togetherness, possibly. Let's talk about it. How are we moving today? What's our direction? Who's in the driver's seat? Who's actually in the car with you, with me? Who we riding with, right? You see the title today, Seasons of Advancement, Synergies. Big words, right, Sensei Kwabin? Why use such big words? Synergies, togetherness. How can we lock up? Boys, now we're competitors, definitely. Chisa! Step to the line. It becomes a different thing, but there's still synergies in our midst, right? Although we move in a competitive fashion, there's that competitive respect. There's that line of understanding, right? There's humanity still involved with our competitive form and our discipline of martial arts. So today, moment with the master number 27, right? What did we do last week? We got in on that level of ownership, the ownership mindset. This week, synergies in this season of advancement. So why do we say season of advancement even? Why do we even register that there's something happening that we need to pay attention to? Season of advancement, right? I've gotten wind recently and I've heard and I've been in rooms where I understand there's movement happening. There's alignment taking place. There are master builders who are coming to the table to arrange something that we are going to see and experience tomorrow. Master builders! What's the master builder, Sensei? Well, master builder is someone who has the capacity and the faculties, the faculties to develop something and build something out of what they already have stored up inside of them. Maybe a master martial artist is a master builder. Yes, quite possibly. You've seen them around the community. They may be in our dojos. They may be our senseis. They may be our shians, senpai, soki, kyoshi, hanshi. All of them, some might be having these elements of master builders in them. And they're people who come and bring out of themselves something to give back to the world. And it stacks, it develops, it builds, it grows, and it cements. And it forms something that you can look at and say, that person's identity is on that. Right? With the ownership mindset, we said that people have this thing of labeling what they create. Master builders. So we started this conversation, who's in the car and which direction are we going? What am I talking about? Well, we have these martial arts communities. We have our human communities. We have our family communities. We have our neighborhood communities. And what we have to ask is who's driving what happens in those communities? So from a martial arts standpoint, I'm watching and I'm seeing this alignment happen and this opening, this portal of opportunity, right? Happening and opening up for us to align and form alliances to do great things, right? Form alliances to do great things. Now, here's what we will be able to recognize and agree on. That each of us stands on the shoulders of some great people. Great martial artists, great community members. We each stand on the shoulders of greatness. And for us to stand up now, we are standing up and looking out and surveying the land and saying, what is it going to be in 2, 5, 7, 10 years? Because it's going to be something. We will be in some type of form of newness of a society, newness of an economy, newness of cultural norms. We already have formed the basis and the genesis of significant change. So who's in the car? In which direction are we going? My fellow martial artists and I, we are now seeking a few of us, hello, salute to you, chisa. We're seeking common ground on how we can move and push forward. Now, there's some great people out there, salute to you, already doing the work, already setting the standard, already in alignment, already in movement, already in motion, already in action at the table, right? With other master martial artists or other like-minded individuals moving and forming things that will form the basis of what we see tomorrow. It's happening now. It is happening as we speak. It's happening as we move. It's happening as we think. So great people and peers, they already have these aligned common interests, right? So what do we find that takes them over the threshold? What do we find that brings them over the bar to achieve greatness? And what we do see is that they have something that we call us. That what we call definition through differences. Now, how often we all show up with these differences, different mindsets, different ideologies, but the people who are able to bridge the gaps, fill the potholes, and re-cement the pavement of their alignment where it has been before, where it has gone from, all of them have this ability to define themselves through the differences that happen, right? We have these elements in us, they're characteristics, and we'll say that these elements and characteristics form in us a form of temperance, an ability to deal with others who are different from us. We call that temperance. The ability to stay at the table and push through differences, the ability to stand in the face of what might push us back or push us away or push us apart, and exhibit and show temperance so that we can keep alignment, keep the movement, keep the continuity. See, there's a difference between temperance, right, and what we might call tolerance. I aspire to temperance. I aspire to understanding. I aspire to perspective so that I can be tempered in how I respond, tempered in how I move, tempered in how I act. There is a quote, and I'll bring it to you. I looked it up. It's from this guy, Henry Ford, notable person. But the quote is quite interesting. The quote says, coming together is a beginning. Yes. Staying together is progress. And working together is what we will call success. Working together is what we will call success. But I add something to his quote. I say that venturing, doing great things, having common goals and common interests together, and alliancing together is something that brings out our dynamic skills and abilities. It's something that brings out our dynamic skills and abilities. Venturing and alliancing. Right? We do that. We find that we have those capacities to come together because we're already dynamic people, dynamic martial artists. What are we trained to do mostly? Right? You see us in there. Chi, ha, move. Come off the line. Pow, pow, chi, fight. We train to fight. We train to move. Right? We train to be dynamic in how we move and how we fight. But you don't want to know what's more dynamic? Is the ability to come to the table and push through differences, push through our definition through our differences. What's more difficult? What's more of a challenge? What requires more of us? The physical and the mental, we got that. Yes, we need to be poised and ready. But what else helps us develop in the ways that we will show up to form alliances with other people? Let me give you the 6 things about 6 touch points of alliances. Let's talk about this a little bit. What do we see are the characteristics of alliances that keep us strong, that keep us together, that keep us engaged? One thing is that there's diversity in thought with our alliances. There's diversity in thought. We think, not everybody thinks alike, but we form alliances from the diversity of thought that we have. We invite diversity of thought so that we can explore and test and arrange those abilities or those thoughts and ideas, right? Those visions that we have. Test them in the light of scrutiny. Test them in the light of question. Test them in the light of challenge even. One thing that we remember as we form alliances is that we have cohesion in our goals. Cohesion. We don't have to agree on everything that happens at the table of an alliance, but cohesion on our goals. Another thing, we are what you might call resolution-minded in our alliances. We are set to resolve issues. We are set to resolve problems. We're set to resolve challenges. We're set to resolve stumbling blocks that keeps an alliance vibrant and alive and formed. Remember all those groups that came up in the 80s and 90s and all of them broke up? They would have done well to understand and recognize the synergies and how to maintain the touch points of their alliance. Mutual respect is important in your alliance, right? Having a collaborative spirit, a spirit of welcomeness to new ideas, right? And then, of course, with the alliance, we don't want a bunch of people who are sitting at the table, not moving, not doing anything. We want people who are action-oriented. Yes, you're going to find challenges in the alliance, but we want to be action-oriented, diverse in thought, cohesive in goals, resolution-minded, mutually respectful, collaborative spirit, all of that from the touch points from the alliance that we form with other people. Now, when you find that you're in that alliance and you're having challenges and difficulties, here's what's usually at the bedrock of your challenges in the alliance. It's that personal interests are taking precedent over group interests. And it takes mature people to be able to step up into an alliance and not allow the things that we want personally and individually to come up above the group's interests or the group's cohesion of goals. That's why cohesion of goals is so important, because the alliance needs to be secured by the strength of each member who is a link in the chain of the alliance. Right? Each member who's a link in the chain of the alliance. So in the alliance, we would do well to practice the action of setting specific goals. Right? Set specific goals. And here's another thing. Alliances, they may not be forever. Alliances may be for a set period of time for that set specific goal. Right? And when we invite people to the table of our alliance, we have to measure if they're able to hold that, to uphold the principles, uphold the mores of what the alliance is formed for. We measure their maturity, because not all can really carry that out. Right? So what we want to avoid is getting stuck like at a green light. And not choosing the right people for the alliance can keep us stuck at a green light. The green light says go. We're ready. The path is clear. But the alliances we keeps us stuck because we're there anchored in some frivolity, some unnecessariness. We're anchored in mess and minimalist thought, right? Or low vibrational thinking, I should say, not minimalist, right? We support minimalism. We promote minimalism, but low vibrational, that's something different. Right? So we want to dump the garbage when we're at that green light. We want to dump the garbage as we form these alliances. We have thoughts and beliefs about things and people that may not serve us in going into the alliance. Maybe even things that we remember historically about the people that we need to form the alliance with. Dump the garbage. Be careful with the people. Handle people delicately in a way. Be careful about judging people's intent. We may see their actions show us something. We may believe that we understand what's behind the veil of their intent. Careful. We got the alliance at stake here. Right? So we want to be able to move through the door of execution and not have anything holding us back. Not have anything hindering us. And let me close with this. It's 6 o'clock. I'm about to start the class with the students. They're here. wonderful. I want to say this one thing. There's some of us out here who are dealing with a history and a past of stalled alliances, right? We done went to a tournament and we done got, hit with a spinning back kick that almost took our lights out. Okay. Yeah, there's that, but that was then, this is now. Right? Somebody may have offended us in some type of way that went over our threshold of acceptance. Yes, okay, that was then and this is now. Someone may have been on this plane of serving their own personal interests instead of the interests of the group, but they may have matured and moved over and above that. That was then and this is now. So choose the alliances carefully, right? We have an opportunity. In one episode of Squid Games, and I'm down to the last 60 seconds. In one episode of Squid Games, there was this challenge. They put people in a big room and they put them in a circle of the room. And on the perimeter of the room was a whole bunch of other smaller rooms with doors to them, right? It was around 25 or 30 rooms around with doors, and all the people were in the center of the room. I don't know how many people, 25 or 30 times 4, 100 plus. Okay, 100 plus people. And what had to happen is they had to form alliances. And they had to form alliances quickly and quickly enough to get a set number of people through the door, in a room, shut the door so that they were not left out of the portal of period and the gateway of advancement. The gateway of advancement to the next stage of the game. So they had to form the alliance to get out the room, to get through the door and into the gateway of advancement. Because if they did not form the alliance and get into the room that formed the gateway of their advancement, they would have been caught out in the cold and eliminated. Do you remember that Squid Game episode? So here now we have the opportunity to look and see what is before us. What gateways of advancement are before us? What opportunities exist before us? What people are in our circumference that we can form alliances with? And who are they? And what can our intent be? What can our cohesion and goals be? How can we be resolved to do something together? How can we appreciate the diversity in thought? How can we do more talking than we do fighting? Hey, listen, police, I'm up in here doing a moment with the master. How can we do more talking than we do fighting? And how can we be mature enough and present ourselves at the table of the possible alliance or the resetting of the alliance to make things move forward and see positive gains and goals for our time coming? 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. Let's set the alliances now. You're in one, great. You're in multiple, great. But if you're moving and then you're in the middle of the room like they were in Squid Games, let's pair up. Let's find those measures of alignment that we can now move and join together to have this progress into our season of advancement. I'm talking synergies. Real synergies, right? It has been a magnificent couple of months, few months, and I'm seeing openings and portals of opportunity with some of you. And I'm looking to maximize on them, move on them. Let's solidify. Let's cement the pavement. Where we have differences, let's cement the pavement. Us, I'm willing. Are you? Cement the pavement. Fill the potholes. Bridge the gaps. Let's move into synergies. Let's move into alignment. Let's move into our season of advancement. This has been Sensei Kwabin, your beneficial sensei, with Moment with the Master number what? Number 27. As you already know, I'm looking forward to doing this again with you next Wednesday. For the meantime, you know what? Chisa!